Hi, my name is Loyiso Lindani. I am the author of this amazing book over here that I have self-published. The title of the book is How HIV Saved My Life. It's an autobiography of my journey of living with HIV. And I talk about my experiences from childhood up until now, of things that I feel contributed towards my actions and led to my decision making that ultimately led me into being infected with HIV. So I've documented all of that in this book over here that I am selling for 250 rands, South African rands. And I feel so honored and so blessed to be invited into this space where I get to share my thoughts with you and on art, on decolonization and peace. I've had some time to think about this, and I was like, can there be peace without violence? Like, is peace existing for the sake of violence? Like, for there to be peace, there needs to be violence. For there to be violence, there needs to be peace. This is like something that I've been asking. Oh, can peace exist on its own, just purely, without it being for the violence? And I'm still debating on that, because the world we live in can come with so much violence, and sometimes it can be hard to find peace. And peace, the definition, like forgiveness, for me has got like many understandings to it. There's peace that you have within yourself, in your heart, for who you are, and for who you accept yourself to be, and what you accept or believe about yourself and the world at large. There's that piece, and then there's the piece that surrounds us, like in our environments, our spaces of living, and the people that we allow into our lives, the people that are part of our circle. And there's that piece. And then there's the piece of the environment. Okay, there's the piece of the environment, the community, being a in those spaces. I've also just thought, when speaking about peace, I've also just thought about uh like, the non-conflict part of it. Like, does peace mean that there won't be conflict ever in our lives? I doubt it. I think life is set up to be balanced, to be a balance of good and bad things. And due to that, that is purely my belief. And because life is made up to be partly good, partly bad, then we'll at some point feel pain. We will at some point be in discomfort. There will be conflict at some point. And just as there will be all of that, there will also be joy, there will also be peace, and there will also be love, which are things that already exist. And I feel like we need to acknowledge them more. you know and using art, when it comes to using art, I've always known, like, one of the things that I've always known is that I am an artist. I'm a creative artist. I loved writing from a very, very young age, from when I was like maybe 4 or 5, somewhere there. That's when I knew, like, reading and writing were my thing. I loved those two bits. And I've always also known that I'm an artist. I've always had an eye of, like, seeing things that my peers wouldn't be able to see. Like, I would be looking at a tree but see a drawing. And I used to love drawing a lot. But I never, like, I haven't yet actually had a chance to pursue it as an academic study, but it's just something that is inside of me. And as I grew, the writer in me grew. So did, like, the vocalist, the poet. and other forms of me, like the photography, the activist, and grew and grew and grew, and like here I am now, boom. So yeah, and these are all just like different forms of expressions of who we are as an artist. And then there's the art that liberates, and then for me there's like two different types of art. There's a commercial art and underground art, and these two somewhere somehow sometimes connect and collide. um Underground, the unknowns, the cool guys, we're not doing it for fame guys. Yeah. That's where you see a lot of like expression, everything is so real, it's so raw, authentic. And then on like the commercial side, there's always just like that kind of like unsaid about and said need, or I don't know if it's need or like something where like you kind of like have to be correcting yourself how you speak and stuff, and being mindful of what you say and how you say it, but still being able to deliver whatever your creative output in a manner that is going to be one acceptable, bringing in money, so there's for me those are just like some of like the dynamics, and it can be like so conflicting, especially to the guys who are just like expressing themselves and also just hoping and dreaming of being able to making a living out of this, and being able to sustain themselves, which is really something that's very 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 hard to do. And decolonization, like if we're going to talk about decolonization, let's decolonize the mind, first of all, our minds. I feel like there's a lot that we've been conditioned to as all like the different societies in the world, a lot that we have constructed and we have set up as belief systems, as as things that are set and things that are true, which help us a lot in terms of like how we navigate our daily lives. But I'm talking about the stuff that is toxic, the egos that that are unchecked and unaddressed, like in the jealousy, the negativity, the envy that comes, or I don't know whether like it's part of like a human experience, I don't know, but somewhere there that it happens, and if you are part of like the elite, you are not exposed to this because everyone in your environment is happy, they are fulfilled, they are complete, they're not necessarily striving for anything that is like major or like too difficult to accomplish. I mean, there may be like some difficulties, but like uh it won't be like something. So it won't be something that is like unattainable. It would be like something that they are able to achieve, and there will be support. There will be a support system. There will be like means that are available most of the time, which still in the Black community are a scarcity and not readily available to everyone. And um, that being like the thing that like keeps us like in a deprived sense of state, if I could put it like that, where we are not developing at all. At times in our communities, there's no very successful long-term businesses. There's a lot of crime that we experience, so it's very difficult like that, it's very difficult, and the issues are complex, because it's not just about education. There's healthcare, there's a lack of healthcare rather, and joblessness, unemployment, lack of opportunities, skills development, things to like to do, and that's just like some. Then there's a lot of dynamics that are there that are like unaddressed. So when you have like issues like that, then we have a problem, because that for me now is like decolonization, the deconstruction of the impact of the traumas caused by poverty, because it is a trauma that a lot of people do not get addressed. And I've been watching some social media videos, educating myself. It was more for the purpose of educating myself. And I've been watching these videos that they're making on breaking generational traumas. And I was like, I was like, I don't understand, because when they do those videos, I was like, oh, congratulations, you're breaking generational traumas. You're about to be the first millionaire in your home. You are what your ancestors have been waiting for. Like, do you even understand the the trauma of the struggle of breaking? Because if you are saying poverty is one of like the generational curses, and to break that, and there are degrees to poverty, and there's each of them very extreme, and there's poverty of the mind, there's poverty of your life, your finances, there's poverty of your household, your livelihood, how it affects how you do things in life, and how you ultimately progress. It's really very hard. It's harder even to experience. I think art can make us think about peace and decolonization through expression, and like the different art forms. And there's many different forms of art. There's music, there's painting, there's writing, there's there's a lot, there's photography, there's a lot, quite a lot. And I think through all like those different mediums of expression, yeah, we definitely like stand a chance of like addressing, peace and decolonization, and also like not stepping on eggshells a lot, because I feel like when it comes to our history, we are, as South Africans, we are very much afraid to talk about it, because very bad things happened. Very, very bad things. Like, bad is not even a good word today. Like, horrific things, horrible, horrible things that should never again in life happen. People died painfully, families got torn apart, and the whole nation was just in pain. Like, people go missing. There's people, like, there's a lot, like, black people died in gruesome ways, and they lived an extremely painful life, which partly we still do. But um to now be able to achieve decolonization and peace, we need to be able to address these wounds without feeling like we're walking on eggshells, when doing it, without feeling like we are accusing anybody else for feeling what we feel, and talking about what happened without feeling shame or guilt of it, like feeling guilty to even think about it, guilty to even like talk about it, when it is part of our history, it's part of something that happened to us, and it's part of who we will forever be, because we'll never be able to erase it. However, we are able to also just learn from it as we move forward, and create more spaces for engagement through art. I think what can be considered when building a curriculum based on decolonization and peace would be the ability for the stories to come from the originators, the people, and to tell the true story, the real story. Because if we're going to talk about decolonization, like I'll speak about myself. Like when I was being taught about my history, I was being taught about the Jan van Riebeeks and the wars that happened between the whites and the blacks, the Afrikaners, and how they came, and all that. Which later on, after we had achieved the democracy, we were told that a lot of it was like false, and none of it was like really ours. And we then therefore started to now tell our stories through like leaders such as Mandela, Steve Biko, and all those the other giants, you know, that fought for the freedom we have today. So somewhere along the way, I think we kind of left it hanging. And I think now more than ever, like there's a need for art to play a bigger role in this through all like the different mediums of it, because it is so very diverse and so usually just not getting the platform that it deserves to tell our own stories in our own voices. I think that was what would be like, that was what would be needed to achieve a curriculum based on decolonization and peace.